Hello, I wanted to talk to AlwyzPAPPIE, who is a mental coach in Fortnite. He works with some of your favourite duos, the world's best, Sky and Squad, for example. He's working with Pablo Chino and many more, even some of the American players too. And I've seen him at work on the sidelines at the Fortnite Global Summit, which was in Düsseldorf earlier this year. And so I wanted to talk to him a bit more about how he is working with these players, either in Discord or on the ground at LAN, to see how he's getting the best of them, and hopefully you guys might get some advice on how you can get the best from yourselves too. Enjoy. Pappie, thank you for joining me. Let's get a TLDR of what you do as a performance coach.
It's a little bit more as a performance coach. I take the role as a mentor, where I try to guide young people in this wonderful gaming scene, to help them with their mental, with their performance, with discipline, even to the point with the full backside of a company. I see them as young entrepreneurs, but there's it's so much pillars that I try to help them with. But yeah, I love what I do.
When did you sense that this was something that was needed?
In 2020. In 2020, unfortunately, 2019, I personally got sick. It broke through to me. So my kids brought me into Fortnite. I had nothing to do anymore because I stopped my businesses. I was like, what am I going to do now? But in that moment, I still had a feeling, I want to go pro. Because every time I did something in my life, it always turned out great. But then that didn't work so great. Then I noticed, like, okay, no, this doesn't work. But I was in a group with Destiny's Jesus. He was my coach. And then I noticed he brought me in contact with so many people, so many kids. And there was like, wow, here is a lack of structure. There's so many issues. It's kind of a toxic scene. So it was a shock for me. But in that moment, I was like, I need to help these kids because the pressure is on. They have no clue how to deal with this. And yeah, from that moment, somewhere 2020, I jumped into this, and here I am, still doing, but at a different level now.
What were the particular behaviors or signs that raised alarm bells for you?
Yeah, the pressure by itself, like, they were gaming. There was no stop on these on the kids. They were grinding to grind. They didn't really had a clue what would help them long term, just short term. Same thing with team chemistry. They had no idea in which direction it really would work. The discipline aspect, because many times people, these kids were going on motivation, and then they didn't make it, and then boom, down. So they didn't want to push anymore. But also the structure, how to prepare for a tournament. How can you reduce the stress? Breathing. Nobody ever heard about any breathing. In the beginning, they would laugh at me. What are you teaching us? But now it's helping so many people. So yeah.
So many things I want to touch on there. Reading, though, should we talk about reading? Reading's fundamental, as they say on one of my favorite shows in the UK. And I want to know the kind of stuff that you're getting these players to read. Do you think they're actually reading it?
Yeah. For example, Higgs. You like Higgs as well. So
yes,
Higgs,
everyone knows I like Higgs.
Yeah, Higgs. People were telling me there's no way that he's reading, but in the morning, he would go outside, take his morning sun, and then he would read Atomic Habits, and then he would come to me like, "Hey, Pappie, this was what you were teaching me." So at least I knew that he took on certain parts from his book, and I knew he was reading. So yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. So what is the library list? What's the reading list for prospective pro players?
I don't push them that much into reading. They can choose themselves. I give them a few. Majority of people start with Atomic Habits, and I'm not sure what they do afterwards. But in the evening, I also like that they read some fiction. Also, there, majority of the players, they won't do that. But very important, they have to keep a Discord for me. And they have to write a lot, so also read a lot. And that's a like a really daily discipline routine. There's even people, players, where I said like, wow, it's too much work for me. But the people that stuck through, yeah, they had some good success with it.
What is a typical routine that you set in place on the daily for these players?
Every day they have to send in their schedules. It's an energy but also mood schedule. So I work with 3 balls, like red, orange, green. So they should start up green. So they wake up in a good mood and very refreshed. Obviously, sometimes, yeah, they wake up in a bad mood, fully red. But the purpose is because I do check them on a daily basis, everything what they write down, to making sure that they have the best mood in the morning, but also during the tournament, actually throughout the day. But the energy, by the time they're done with their day, they're exhausted, they can sleep easily, and that's an energy schedule. That's already something. Every day they gotta end up with a rate my day. A rate my day is very simple. They have to write about their day, what they did, and they always have to end with something that they're grateful for. So always on a positive note. Then mistaken solutions. What were your mistake? And what is the solution? Not looking at your teammate, obviously. So what could you do even when your teammate sold? What could you have done? And a lot of video, they have to clip as many things so they can learn from communication. So much, actually. So that's on a daily basis. On a weekly basis, then it's their weaknesses. They got to work on their weaknesses. They got to make them their improvement. They can pick 2 things to work on that week. Sometimes, many times, they don't fix it in a week, so they do it a week later. If I'm just now going over their discords, why questions, they gotta learn, like, why does this happen? And then it's a typical Japanese thing, so they have to go deep to the roots. Why is it they have to do this? So I'm helping them for the future to understand their problems way easier. And yeah, and there's even so much more that, yeah.
Are there moments with these players where you go, okay, we've had a breakthrough here?
Yeah, many. I get a lot of messages like, wow, Pappie, now I understand what you made us do. Because, for example, Sky and Scroll, they won after their first grants. It's normal when somebody scratches off their goals, what now? And there's so much. Majority of the players that I know then fall into this black hole, like I call it. What now? So I already had a full plan ready, but I prepared them beforehand. Okay, this is gonna happen no matter if you want it or not. It's gonna happen. And then they're like, wow, I feel it now. But now is the question, how do we get out of this? Because we want to continue, we want to compete. And yeah, that is already a very big thing. Or at the growth mindset, so they're not focused on winning, that that it's okay to fail. And many times they're telling me like, wow, when we failed there, it worked now, and we needed this.
But there are a lot of conversations about failure between the heats of Major 2 and then the finals of Major 2, because the Sky and Scroll that we saw, you know, in those separate broadcasts and those separate lobbies were completely different.
Yeah. And obviously it's never fun to watch them fail, but I heard it on the broadcast and everything, and I was like, yeah, but it's on purpose. Not on purpose, obviously, but for example, in heats, they had 3 max pulls. Sky was like, I have no clue what I have to do against this. And I was like, yeah, he was a little bit worried, but then he switched to this improvement mindset, and then he was like, okay, yeah, I need this. Well, if he didn't had a hard heats, they had the same thing in grants, but this time they were ready. So for them, they're okay with it. Obviously, in the moment it stinks, but after the tournament, give them a half an hour, and then it's like, okay, yeah, we needed this. I had Pablo write me after this grants like, this is exactly what we needed, because we were not prepared, even when we were contested. I'm allowed to say these things, luckily, because they know I give the examples to multiple. Chino, with the dropping, with getting contested, yeah, he didn't fully prepare his dropping. And yeah, they will be ready for next tournament.
Well, this is interesting because we're recording this a couple of days before the last chance. I think it's called the Fortnite Global Championships Last Chance Qualifier. I think that's technically the full name of it because we don't have a Major 3 anymore. So I need to learn this for the broadcast, Pappie. So for that, anyone can compete. So we know that Sky and Scroll are going to be in the lobby. Pablo Chino are going to be in the lobby. And I'm wondering for you, is it strange to have to coach these guys when they don't have as much at stake, because these are duos that are already qualified for the global championships in Antwerp? So I suppose in their minds maybe it's slightly different. Yeah, they're playing for prize money, but this isn't a major.
They're playing to compete, and they're playing to learn. That's at least what I'm pushing a lot on them. And this is for them, it's the main reason to learn. This is the best practice that they can have from. Yeah, you can have scrims, but now they can prepare themselves under pressure. The money is there, but for them, it's way less. And obviously, yeah, they want to be seen as the best as well. So everybody is doing their best to be the best.
This is one of the things that I think of when it comes to esports. Yeah, the prize money is great for headlines, and of course it's life-changing for these players. But I feel like really the thing that they think of first and foremost is the win and being the best. Is that right?
Yeah, because I had it with certain people that were thinking too much about that prize money. And then they were like, okay, if we are top 10, okay, at least we get this amount of money. This is also not a really great mindset, because you should push your, like, if you just calm down, you're able to get a win. And if you get a win, then the difference to the next part is smaller and smaller and smaller. So I try to push them to not think in the direction of money. Money is good, it comes anyway, but it's really also not about winning either, because I had many people that placed too much pressure on them, because the only thing that they wanted to do is win. So I like to keep the balance.
Do you ever also remind them of the fact that most of these guys are teenagers and they don't actually have that many expenses? So if they don't win $160,000, it's okay.
Yeah, obviously then it's a bit money. It's the nice part. Like, it depends how they grow up. There's a big difference, because the biggest dream of many, what I noticed, is to provide for their family, because even though when they're young, they're already in their minds like, wow, my parents, I've been able to do this and I want to give back, which is incredibly nice. I've seen Jerky back in the days with his mom, like many situations with are like so nice and hard. It's heartwarming when they win, and it's like Vico with his mom, like, mommy, I'm the best in the world with your interview. That was like, wow. So they have certain goals, which is good.
Yeah, you see a lot of the Fortnite parents around, so it does totally make sense. I'm pretty sure Benji Fishy bought his mum a house, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously Benji's doing amazing in Valorant now. I literally saw him at the weekend when I was working in Berlin on VCT. But yeah, that does make a lot of sense. I think that players suddenly realize what they could do, and because their parents have allowed them to go on this journey, it makes sense that they'd want to repay them in some way. And for them, the most obvious thing would be financially. So who exactly are you working with at the moment? You've mentioned Sky and Scroll, Pablo Chino. Are you mostly working with Danish duos?
At the moment, I am, because the Danes had an issue that they split it, so they formed new duos. And I gave them my word, hey, I will help you. So they formed a new duo. So that's a little bit why I'm in this Danish group. But yeah, I like the Danes. Always have. It started with Anas back in the days. So yeah, Sky and Scroll, Pablo Chino, Fred and Marius. But there's iDrop, Ghonzo, also Scandinavian, let's say it that way.
I mean, Ghonzo was incredible during Major 2. Like, absolute revelation. Revelation. That's the word. That's the English. Yeah, I'm really excited for that particular duo, because I think that iDrop has been underrated in IGL for a while now, even though he's had successful placements on LAN, particularly during trios. I think people get surprised, go, oh my goodness, iDrop's playing really, really well, and then they almost take his name for granted, I feel like. And now iDrop and Ghonzo as a duo, I'm genuinely really, really excited for them. This is obviously a new duo, and I'm wondering, with the duos that you're working with, Pappie, do you ever have a moment when you think, actually, you know what, I don't think that you guys are right for each other, even if you're really great players, chemistry-wise, attitude-wise, there's something that's never going to align here?
Yeah, it happens. It happened a few times. Now, I don't give up in those moments, so I have to think, okay, how can I help them? But for example, and unfortunately it is like that, when I think about a Veno and a Clicks, for example, that would have been harder, way harder to make them work and be aligned together than right now. A Rapid and a Clicks is going a little bit easier because their mindsets and their noses are a little bit in the same direction. So that's a typical duo that I can think of. But in this case, with Ghonzo and iDrop, I knew this would be a great team to evolve.
And why is that? What do you recognize in them?
Fun story, by the way. iDrop, it's been 4 years that he wanted me to help him and coach him. And he was the guy, like, okay, if he needed something, if he had an issue, I was there for him. But now, after 4 years, he finally I allowed him to go into the 6 months trajectory, because they obviously have to work. If they don't work, then my blueprint doesn't work. So after 4 years, iDrop had a connection, like, wow, it's now. I'm gonna do this now. And he needed somebody young, somebody now in the same language. This helps as well. But yeah, Ghonzo always been his friend, and he was the mentor a little bit over Ghonzo. And yeah, Ghonzo and Twek, it was a nice duo. But when I was in call with him, I was like, yeah, it has to be Ghonzo. And then he messaged Ghonzo, like, okay, what if we're gonna play together? And Ghonzo was over the moon, because indeed his mentor basically is playing with him, so he knows that he can learn so much valuable things. Now they made LAN, they qualified, and this is a strength, because now we're already preparing Ghonzo for LAN, and now the strength of iDrop really comes in, where he's like, okay, we're gonna sit in the right environment, we're gonna make sure that we're gonna prepare you're not gonna be afraid, and step by step. So yeah, I love this.
Oh, that's so exciting. So when I'm in Belgium, I get to do my little booth walks that I do in the morning, and I get to meet Ghonzo and give him my first, like, this is what it's like to do an interview on stage talk, which is so exciting. Like, that's one of my favorite parts of the job. I love getting to kind of ease players into this environment, because it's such a unique place to be in, and most people have no idea what it's like.
No, and also a fun fact, I was in call with Ghonzo's parents, also talking about LAN, and I was mentioning you, how amazing you are with the players, that he doesn't have to, like, you always make sure they feel great. You feel their vibes. And I told the parents, like, don't worry, Frankie is there. He will be fine.
Thank you so much. That's so kind. Yeah, like, that's the thing. I think I don't even think it's because I'm a mum. I think it's just because like I'm a grown up and like I'm so aware that some of these kids are as young as 14 on this stage, and because they're 14, this is the most important thing in their life. So if they feel like they've failed at the most important thing in their life, that's in front of all these people, that's a huge thing. And of course they haven't failed because they've literally got to the top 50 teams in the entire world. So they've done this incredible achievement. And so I always want them to, you know, never like to look back on any of those moments with any kind of regret. I never want them to feel embarrassed about something they've said to me on camera. Like, I'm always going to be the more embarrassing one. I hope Higgs has forgiven me for doing that to him. But yeah, but he was, you know, I always look at these players and see what their wavelength is. So, you know, I'm not gonna joke with like a player that isn't experienced of being in that spotlight, like say a Clixton or a Higgs or a Peterbot is. I try to be quite careful about it. I'm wondering, in terms of the fact that these are teenagers for the most part, not all, and a lot of them are in school, like Sky and Scroll have both just turned 17. I'm guessing they're studying full time still. So how do you make sure that they're balancing the gameplay and it never becomes too much, because they have their whole lives ahead of them and they're not going to be playing and competing in Fortnite when they're over probably, well, I imagine not in their 40s, but you never know.
Yeah. Sky and Scroll actually are full-time. So
they are full-time, okay.
Yeah, they're full-time. But for example, I had Twy in the past, and he had FNCS grants while also preparing for his GCSEs.
Oh, wow.
And that was not easy. So we really prepared, had the schedule, the plan, and he had tutors because he has super supportive parents. So for, I think, a bit more than a month before, he started to learn for his GCSEs. And yeah, he nailed it.
Yeah,
which was an amazing feeling for him while playing at the highest level. So yeah,
was it this year, like in qualifying for Summit for last year? Yeah, because I mean, Cringe and Twy were incredible in the Major 2 finals. Like, I'm so looking forward to what they do in Belgium, because obviously Summit was, I feel like it was a good proving ground for them. Obviously didn't go entirely all the way, but they had some highlight moments. So the fact that they're going to Belgium now and they've got that experience behind them and had such a fantastic Major 2, I think it's going to be a great year for them. Fingers crossed. I know that you're working with pro players, but I'm wondering, is there something that everyone could benefit from that they could put into their routine? Like, I know, for example, you love to do breathing exercises, you're encouraging reading of all sorts, the being grateful for something or positive about something that happened in your day. But what's like the one thing that you think is the biggest game changer for anyone to adopt?
I have to choose between two things, actually. The breathing part, but also visualizing. Visualizing is a very important one that recently helped Sky and Scroll a lot. Because momentum at a LAN, when you gain momentum, then you can keep going. Peterbot had certain momentum issues that stop him to being the best. Now, I always teach them how to visualize, and in that moment I was like, okay, now you're gonna do a full game from start to finish with all the sounds in your mind.
Wow.
So you gain momentum in your mind and then you are ready. Like the greatest in the sports, they do it. I've seen an interview from Conor McGregor where 2 weeks before he did a full fight. He explained to the press, like, hey, I'm gonna do this. When I'm not really too sure into boxing, but when he lowers this arm, I'm gonna do this, this, and this. And then the fight came, and he did it exactly like he told him 2 weeks before. So he said, like, if I can do it in the mind, I can do it in real life. And that's what they're learning right now as well, that, yeah, maybe if you miss a shot, you do, I don't know how many shots on a week they would do, but then they do a few in their minds, a few 200, and they're back in the roll, and then they can keep going.
Now, I was looking at your Twitter, Pappie, and you mentioned an opponent kill list. Yeah. What's an opponent kill list?
An opponent kill list. It's actually very simple. I'll explain it the proper way. I'm going to give away my secrets here. A kill list is very simple. You have to analyze your opponents. For example, how do Peter, Bot, and Poya, what is their strength? How do they really fight? But then I also make them think like, okay, how can you find their weaknesses? And what can you do as a team when they're fighting you to get them out of the lobby? But also the other players around them, like which skins are they normally wearing, or which gun wraps, or which in Shxrk's. Now he doesn't wear them anymore, but Shxrk always had the Shxrk slippers. So that's how they could know who was Shxrk and who was Teeny, and maybe like on or let's say a low ground. How can they know it's Twire Cringe or Pablo and Chino? So once they know their timings and their weaknesses, they can use it against them and then gain the upper hand. So kill list is analyze your opponents, but really into detail, find their weaknesses. So in order that you're ready, because confidence, it comes from the right practice. And that means once they're fighting the people that are really strong, they're confident that they will not fail.
Can I ask you about the relationship between Shxrk and Sky and Squad? I don't know how much you know about it, but I've seen pictures of them together. It came out on socials that if we're going back to trios again, that potentially they're all going to be working together. But I feel like it's quite interesting. They seem like quite different individuals. So what have you witnessed of this relationship? Do you think the trio is going to happen?
I'm still unsure. I'm still unsure because in their situation, the Danish speaking part, will they go with the Dane because their communications are fluent or not? I did say last month that they need to start recording me some scrims and also some tournaments in English. So maybe. Right now it's still hard. So maybe. We'll see. But right now they were at the boot camp and they respect each other so much. Same thing with Vico, Sky and Scroll, and Shxrk. They're all just really good friends. And at a boot camp, you're already basically alone there. So seeing your opponents, but they're actually your friends, makes it so much better.
Oh yeah, were they all at the same facility? Were they all at Big?
No. They were at 1337.
Okay.
So Sky Scroll, I know Shxrk. There were. I think Cammy was there as well. I'm unsure. So there were a lot of people there. But then you also had the boot camp with Pablo and Chino was with Marius and Fredoxy. So they were together. They could train together, live together. So.
That's so cool. Before I let you go, I imagine we're going to be seeing you in Belgium. So what are the things that you're going to be doing with the players on the ground to get them ready for that championship?
Obviously, get the pressure off them. I noticed when the pressure is raising. Like last time with Clicks, I felt that he was out of control. He had anger inside of him. I made him run the stairs 10 times. He gave me 15. So that was a nice thing. So in order to control their emotions, I'll be there to control their emotions. So they're able to vent and to bring them in balance. But I'm actually there because they will be prepared. That's the easy part. So I will be looking over. There will always be some other new people that have some issues that come to me, but I'll make sure that they'll be the best version of themselves, and I'm looking forward to Belgium.
We're so looking forward to seeing you there, Pappie. Actually, I want to ask you one more thing, actually. So you mentioned the running up and down the stairs, I guess expelling that negative energy. I think I'd just love to get one more piece of wisdom for you, for everyone before I let you go, for just maintaining a positive mindset and achieving. We've got the breathing, the visualizations, but now you've mentioned like running up and down the stairs. Is that something everyone could do in the moment, or is there something else that fits everyone rather than one kind of person?
The resets are very important, like shake it off. I'll use these two things. Control the controllable. That's already one thing. I have two things. So control the controllable. The first thing that you control is yourself. You should control your own emotions. Is it by shaking the pressure off? That's already something. And then I have where the focus goes, the energy flows. So if you're focused on negative things, it will not help you. So just be calm, focus on your breathing, it calms you down. And when you follow those two already, control the controllable, and where the focus goes, the energy flows, you're already going a very long way.
Amazing. Right, I'm going to use that when I'm next hosting. I'm going to try and remember that wisdom. Thank you so much, Pappie. And good luck to all of your duos in the last chance qualifier and also in Belgium.
I'm looking forward to meet you again. Yeah. And yeah, it's going to be a good thing.
Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoy this and you'd like to see more, then let me know in the comments, like, subscribe, etc. Tell your friends, because I think always Pappie's wisdom is something we can all learn from. Thank you.